Okay, so it's been about a week now since my girlfriend and I broke up. And if you've watched any of my videos, you know just about a month ago I made a video called Obsessive Thoughts that was about how I was thinking so much about this relationship and was worried about it, and I couldn't make the thoughts stop. Eventually I did get those thoughts to stop, and I came to a place of peace and just accepted whatever I felt. And I eventually, in that place of peace, came to the realization that the relationship probably should end. And I don't want to get into big specifics or little specifics. If you're going through a breakup and heartbreak, I just wanted to talk a few things over, and maybe you can find some help in this, because it's rough, it's not easy, and sometimes it can feel like the world's ending, but I want to assure you that the world is not ending because your relationship ended. This video isn't as difficult to make as maybe you would think, or as it seems. The difficulty, I think, is just in expressing what I've been going through. I think it's very important when you're in the early stages of a breakup to just keep to no contact, even if your mind is screaming at you that you've made a mistake, because it's always going to do that, even if you were convinced beforehand that it was right. I mean, I'm sure there are circumstances where you won't feel anything afterwards, and I had one breakup where I just felt relief afterwards, and that was specific to that relationship because it had gone on for a long time, and we were both kind of over it before it was officially over, so then it was easy to move on. This one that just ended for me, where you're at the height kind of the relationship, and there was nothing wrong with it. We weren't over it, and in many ways we made our decision based off of a fear of the future, maybe, and not in a commitment phobe kind of way, but just like practically looking at the way our lives lined up and how it might not work in the future. And in some ways I feel like maybe we jumped to conclusions and did the right thing by ending it, but maybe doing it too soon, which maybe sounds like it doesn't make any sense. If you know something's not going to work out, why not just end it right away? But I don't know, that's just something I struggle with. And grief is something that you're going to feel after someone so close to you is no longer in your life. Just because there are so many day-to-day things that are suddenly totally different. You don't have someone to talk to anymore every day. You don't, you know, everything that you did every day with this person no longer exists. So just that alone will cause emotional turbulence. But there is a healthy way to handle the sadness, and then there's unhealthy ways that can just prolong it. And what I've discovered in general in life is that thinking is never a good solution to anything. You can't think your way into certainty. You can't think your way into control. And most of the time when we think, we're thinking about the past and the future. And that's what really can prolong and exacerbate heartbreak after a breakup, because you're thinking about the past and all the good memories you have with this person, and how just a short time ago it was, you know, so good, and now it's over. You know, you can allow yourself to think that, but don't dwell on it, because the past is not real. It only exists in your memories. And the present is all we have. The other side of that is you might be thinking about the future and like, oh, how can I go on without this person in my life? I'll never find anyone like them again. This is a turn for my life that is not good because of what it holds for the future. The future doesn't exist either. And it exists even less than the past, because we have no idea what's going to happen in the future. Absolutely no idea. We have no control over it. I mean, we can make reasonable assumptions about things that may happen, like the sun will come up tomorrow, okay. Or, you know, next week I'm going to take a trip to this place. Okay, you can be reasonably sure. But to think about the future and say things like, I'll never meet anyone else again, is presuming that you have the omniscient power of God to be able to extrapolate the infinite number of variables in the future and come to a conclusion, which is absurd when you think about it. And then there's another thing that you could be thinking about, which is constructing the story of your life and how this relationship fits into that, and how it could be one of many things, like, oh, I can never have anything good. Everything good in my life falls apart. All my relationships end for the same reasons. I'll never find anyone good because I haven't, and this is just the story of my life. And what you need to realize is that that story is just a construction, a fabrication of your ego and of the thing within you that enjoys pain and enjoys pitting yourself against the rest of the world. Because in a perverse way, it feels good to tell yourself a story where you are the victim, or even that you're the bad guy and that you deserve some kind of punishment because of the way things have turned out. There's a perverse pleasure in that, and that thing within you doesn't want to just let it go and say, this is just the way things are. And there's no story behind it. It's just, we were together, now we're not. And the present moment is this, and that's it. That's all there is. There's something within you that desperately wants to have a story to cling on to in order to define yourself. And it can help you a lot to come to the realization that those stories aren't real. The things that have happened in the past are just the things that have happened. There's no, like, through line, there's no story, there's no script writer, and you need to be able to let go of it and just accept where you are now in the present moment. It helps a lot to just realize that this is all we have right now, the present moment. We don't have the past or the future. And that the present moment is so big and full of life, and this is all that has ever existed. And the present moment at one point included your relationship, and now it doesn't. It's futile to try to cling to the way things were in the past because it doesn't exist. It's simple enough. This is all we have. I think the biggest thing that can plague you after a breakup, where you broke it up, or if it was mutual and it wasn't for some like clear reason, like this person was abusive, or this person did something that betrayed me and now I can't trust them anymore. It's relatively easy to break up when those things happen. It can still be difficult, but it's easier afterward to be like, yeah, I made the right decision. But when it's something that's more intangible, when it's like, I just feel like something's off, I don't feel like this is going to work out, it's very easy to question it afterward, because it wasn't really made on logical things, pieces of evidence that we can point to. It was just made off of a feeling. You're going to doubt in that situation whether you made a huge mistake. And you'll have the urge to immediately say, oh, I was wrong, please, let's try it again. And I've had that urge. And what you need to do is to accept the doubt you feel that you might have made a mistake. Accept the fact that you don't know if you made a mistake. It's uncertain. And then also have some trust in the universe that in time, you will find clarity on everything. And perhaps in a few months' time, you'll wonder why you ever doubted the breakup. Or perhaps in a few months' time, you'll come to a realization that perhaps I ended things for the wrong reason, and I should see if I can make it work again. And you have to be very honest with yourself, because there are a lot of other things in your mind that are going to try to make you want to go back to a relationship that you left. There's a lot of fear of, basically the fear of losing something that was good and never getting it again, or the fear of you'll never find anything better, both of which also presume that you know everything, and that all the variables in life, as I've called it, that infinite number of things to come, you have no idea what it is. So you don't know who you'll meet. You have no control over who you'll meet in the future. You have to be willing to accept that uncertainty. And it's difficult if you think about it. And the uncertainty can cause you anxiety and can make you feel like you've got a knot in your stomach. And the best thing to do is just feel it. Feel what that uncertainty does to you. And in this state of grief and sadness after a breakup, you also just want relief, I think, and that's why it's tempting to go back. It's also tempting to dwell on how you can make it work, but you need to just focus on that feeling of whatever the sadness is doing to you. If it's, for me, it's like this sick feeling that kind of travels up and down. It's rough. I don't want to diminish it, but if you just focus on that physical feeling, just be aware and totally present with it, you'll realize, is this the worst thing that it can do to me? It's not much. It's just a physical feeling. Now, some of you might have it really bad, where you're, worried sick, you can't get out of bed, you're throwing up. Let's take it to an extreme. A lot of those things are caused by you being too much in your head. Turn your focus from those thoughts of thinking, what if? Turn it to the physical feelings. Meditate on that. And soon you'll realize that, yeah, this is uncomfortable, but this is the worst. This is the worst thing that this can do to me, is this feeling. It's not going to kill me. This is just the feeling. And accept it. Don't try to get rid of it. Don't dwell on it with your thoughts and feed it. Just live with it and accept it. And try to learn from it. Because it can feel good, like I said, in a perverse way, to feed those bad feelings with more thought. And sometimes you think to yourself, I can't just forget about the relationship, I can't just let it go. That wouldn't do justice to that special thing we had, and I need to beat myself up over it, or I need to dwell on it and suffer, because it would be wrong for me to not suffer. But you don't need to suffer. That's a choice. And that thing within you that wants pain is not going to be satisfied anytime soon. And it will keep going if you keep feeding it. And you need to realize the relationship is in the past. It's not part of the present. Accepting the present moment as being far greater than any memory in the past. The present moment is far greater than any fear in the future. Because it's It is. That's all there is. You don't owe it to your partner or to the relationship to suffer and to feel bad. You can let it go. It's really okay. Don't go the opposite extreme and shut it out and say, I can't feel this. I'm going to throw myself into something else to distract me. Feel it. Feel it and get through it. But that doesn't mean you have to feed it. So if you're experiencing a breakup, heartbreak, that is the biggest piece of advice I can give you, to just accept what you feel, to be aware of the present moment, to not indulge of thinking of the past or of the future, and just be open and accept this incredible gift we have of now, of being in the present moment, of existing, and to realize that this is a passing thing, and it might take a while before you're fully over the feelings of sadness, but it'll leave eventually. We're all resilient. It can almost be funny how quickly humans get over things. It can be amazing too when you think about the many things that are worse than a breakup that people have been through over the course of human history, and they survived, and they didn't dwell on it, and they just got through it. So that's my encouragement for you right now in this moment, which I'm sure is difficult. I know it. I'm going through it myself. But there's no need to suffer. There's no need to make yourself suffer on top of the emotions you feel. There's no need for it. I hope it's been helpful, and I hope you have a good day and you feel better soon.